Hello, music of the Baroque friends. So I hope you've washed your hands because we're going to do some bread baking today. We're also going to talk about 17th century bread across Europe. So I was thinking about making grissini, but it's an entire Italian recipe I'm just about to tell you about. So instead we are going to do a modern kind of normal looking bread with these ingredients. First up, let's talk about grissini, which is a type of breadstick that was created in 1670. It originates from the Piedmont region in Italy. And they're a traditional delicacy in Turin because the people of Turin now believe, and did believe at the time, that grissini gave the young Duke of Savoy, Vittorio Amadeo II, the power to defeat French troops in a war and then become crowned King of Sicily in 1713. Then later, 1720, he was crowned King of Sardinia. So Vittorio was super young when he came into power, so his mother was largely in control at first. Think like Cersei Lannister and Tommen Baratheon, anyone who likes Game of Thrones. So the older he became, the more he needed to become a duke. The more he needed to have strength to become a duke and rule the country. So allegedly, Antonio Brunero created grissini as a little snack, like a little breadstick snack, not so much that it's like gonna make you feel like digested and like, you know, bloated and everything, to improve the ill appetite of Vittorio Amadeo. And the people of Turin now owe that to the defeat of France. They said that's why he was crowned the king and defeated France. So that's a fun bread fact. Breadsticks are good. The more likely reason for grissini to be invented was because the previous king, so not Vittorio, the previous king, his dad, asked for a more hygienic bread to be made, one that required less moisture to be used, because he was worried there would be a pandemic. By the way, guys, I've never made bread before, so this is going to be a nightmare, whatever it turns out. I don't know if it's meant to froth, but it's frothing right now. Speaking of the French, Napoleon actually came to Turin and that area in general in the year of 1801, and he really liked the grissini. He called them little batons before invading the people of Turin and the Piedmont region. So we're going to go back in time, before Napoleon invades anyone, and we're going to go to 1600 in Paris. So the main breads you've got around there, you've got the pain moulé, which is a light, spongy bread. It's probably a white bread. It's also referred to as pain de cour, pain de bouche, and it's described as a very light, very crusty and savory white bread full of eyes, leaven, sourdough leavening, and salt. From 1500 to 1800, the French would actually not eat the kind of baguettes we know of today, but they would eat more like rye, wheat, and buckwheat based breads, because that was what they had at the time. And depending on how much money you had, some bakers would add things like sawdust or dirt or dung, like poo or hay, as fillers, so that the bread's more filling, because bread compromised pretty much like 70-80% of peasants' diet. Types of bread really haven't changed that much over history. However, the class implications of the type of bread that you're eating have really differed. So nowadays, how we associate white bread with less nutrients and often cheaper to find in stores, it was the opposite way. So the French in the 17th century and kind of afterwards would consider white bread to be really kind of higher class, and more expensive because it went through a longer process. Turns out we have a bread proof option, so that is going in to be proofed. It's good to be thankful for the fact that we can now bake bread without worrying about the whole of London setting on fire. Because we're not in London. No, because in 1666, a fire broke out at a bakery in London and basically set the whole of London on fire. So it's a lot safer to use your oven nowadays, which has a bake-proof option. The moment of truth.
You must cleanse the palate.
Okay.
Can I have your honest opinion, please?
It's pretty rough.